أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي اشدد به أزري واشركه في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. O Lord, provide us the goodness of all that you bestow upon us, and whatever this universe points to, and help us stay away from falsehood. Ameen. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Inshallah. Hope all is well. Happy Saturday. We will be continuing on with getting the meaning from the verse Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakeel. For us, God suffices and He's the best disposer of affairs. And we are going to proceed with the fourth point, inshallah. So we are reading from the Rays, page 95. Fourth point. Sufficient for me for all my wishes is He who opened up from a fluid through His subtle art, subtle power, subtle wisdom, and His subtle dominicality. My form and that of all my fellow living creatures. So sufficient for me for all my wishes is He who opened up from a fluid through His subtle art, subtle power, wisdom, and His subtle dominicality, my form and that of all my fellow living creatures. Likewise, sufficient for me for all my aims is He who made me, opened my ears and eyes, included in my body, my tongue, and my heart, and placed in them and in my other faculties innumerable precise scales to weigh up the contents of the treasuries of His mercy. Similarly, He placed in my tongue, heart, and nature countless sensitive instruments to gauge the varieties of the treasures of His names. Likewise, sufficient for me is He who, through His glorious Godhead, beautiful mercy, grand dominicality, munificent clemency, vast power, and subtle wisdom, included in my insignificant, lowly person and weak and wanting being. All these members and faculties, limbs and systems, senses and feelings, inner faculties and spiritual powers. Inner faculties and spiritual powers to allow me to know all the varieties of His bounties and comprehend most of the manifestation of His names. Would anyone want to share anything that strike their attention from the fourth point right now? At any time, just make sure, feel free to share out if you want to say something. But again, I think here it's drawing our attention to our existence, tools, things, everything that we claim that makes us human. I mean, if we really think about it, we're an interesting designed product from someone. So yeah, how would I explain the existence of my being? And I think what the author here is helping us, or at least helping me do, is connecting my existence to the one who gives existence. So connecting everything that I see just to help me get to know the source of existence. So once I know that all this is provided by an owner, then, you know, it gives me consolation that I'm not a result of a random happening. I'm not just an accidental being. Nothing in this universe is the cause of existence of anything that we may perceive to be given results. Not at all, because everything here perishes, decays, and it doesn't satisfy me. So the only thing that satisfies me is knowing that I have a one that's really breathing life into me, is presenting me with every day a new moment, is making me experience everything that I see as change, sun rising, sun setting, day, night, like what is all this? Or even the various feelings and emotions we all go through. So I guess sufficient for me is knowing that there must be a one doing all this, and I cannot claim to be independent in my existence. And so my existence is utterly dependent on an absolute being. I'll just stop here and see if anybody wants to share something or make any comments. Brother Ali, go ahead, please.
Since we are studying the meaning of God suffices us. And fourth point says very simply, as far as my simple understanding tells me, look, I am created out of a fluid. It means something material. And this is just a simple matter. Although, in brackets, I felt that I need to mention this. The people say that, of course, the water is not our source of existence. We are not saying that, those people who don't believe in God, but the program in DNA also okay, the program in DNA, although it has another function to let us, that the one who is creating us and everything knows what he's going to see and what he's going to create and preserves it in this and demonstrates in this cell and demonstrates that he knows what he's doing. He knows also he's going to do. But still, let's say, okay, the program is there, but the program is using this matter. How the program itself uses this matter. So the simple matter cannot be my source of existence, including the knowledge inscribed in the cell. So they cannot be my creator because it needs, both of them need conscious being to exist. So the one who gave me existence in this wondrous way has also given me the tools to communicate with the universe, to benefit from them, like as it says here. It gave me the tongue to see all the taste, beautiful things there. Heart gave me all sensual relationship with the things there, all beautiful things, wonderful things, and at the same time, ugly things happening there. I am given all these tools to communicate with them. In my own existence, I have countless sensitive instruments to gauge the varieties, to understand, to measure, find out the varieties of the treasures of his qualities, his names, but his qualities manifested there, so that through the way that I am created with these tools, I understand who my owner is. And this owner is enough for me because he didn't just create me here alone and left me alone to work by itself. For example, an engineer makes a tool and produces it and sells to the people, and that's it. Leaves it. It has nothing to do with it anymore. So you can take care of it. Maybe if you pay more money, then they may send somebody to help you. Otherwise, it doesn't have a constant contact with his product. But in our case, the creator of the universe and the human beings created us in such a way that we will continue our relationship with the universe constantly, and we are given the tools to understand how my creator is introducing himself to make me feel sure that he is with me, he can satisfy my needs, and he takes care of me. That is why this a creator such as this must be sufficient for me to get to know him, to acknowledge him, to be in contact with him, and to lay all my hopes in him. He will be the one who is going to make my life wonderful in this form or in another form, whatever it is. He is all powerful. He is enough. Whatever needs to be prepared for me, he will take care of it, because I understand this through the tools he gave me. That is the main structure of the reasoning here. Why I should say, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. God is enough for me. Why should I say, this is how I am created, and I am witnessing, my existence is witnessing this reality. He is enough. I don't want anybody else to help me, since there is no other helper anyways. Thank you very much.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Ali. That was nicely put. Any other comments from anyone? If nobody has anything to say, I say that we move on to the 5th point, inshallah. 5th point. Again, those of us who joined us in, we are on page 95 of the raise. 5th point. I and all men should declare thankfully and proudly, So sufficient for me is the one who created me and took me out of the darkness of non-existence, bestowing on me light of being. Sufficient for me is the one who created me and took me out of the darkness of non-existence, bestowing on me light of being. Likewise, sufficient for me is the one who bestowed on me the bounty of life, which gives all things to those who possess it. And stretches out its hand to all things. Sufficient for me is the one who bestowed on me the bounty of life, which gives all things to those who possess it and stretches out its hand to all things. Likewise, sufficient for me is the one who made me a human being and bestowed on me the bounty of humanity, which makes man the microcosm greater in meaning than the macrocosm. Likewise, sufficient for me is the one who made me a human being and bestowed on me the bounty of humanity, which makes man the microcosm greater in meaning than the macrocosm. Likewise, sufficient for me is the one who made me a believer and bestowed on me the bounty of belief, which makes this world and the hereafter two tables laden with bounties and offers them to the believer with the hand of belief. Likewise, sufficient for me is the one who made me a believer and bestowed on me the bounty of belief, which makes this world and the hereafter two tables laden with bounties and offers them to the believer with the hand of belief. Likewise, sufficient for me is the one who made me a member of the community of his most beloved Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and bestowed on me love of God and being loved by him. Sufficient for me is the one who made me a member of the community of his beloved Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and bestowed on me love of God and being loved by him, which are found in belief and are the highest degrees of human perfection. And through this love springing from belief, expanded the extent to which believers could benefit to the infinite contents of the spheres of contingency and necessity. And through this love springing from belief, expanded the extent to which believers could benefit to the infinite contents of the spheres of contingency and necessity. Likewise, sufficient for me is the one who, not making me inanimate or an animal, or leaving me in misguidance, gave me preference with regard to nature's species, religion, and belief over the majority of creatures. Praise and thanks are therefore due to him alone. Likewise, sufficient for me is the one who made me a comprehensive place of the manifestations of his names in accordance with the meaning of the hadith, the heavens and the earth contained me not. The heavens and the earth contained me not. I was contained in the heart of my believing servant. The heavens and the earth contained me not. I was contained in the heart of my believing servant. Wow, it's amazing. Bestowed on me a bounty which the universe could not contain. That is, man's essential nature is a comprehensive place of manifestation of all the divine names manifested in the universe. SubhanAllah, this paragraph is amazingly very pleasing. Likewise, sufficient for me is he who brought from me the property of his I had in order to preserve it and later return it to me and give me paradise as the price. Inshallah. Praise and thanks be to him, to the number of particles of my being multiplied by the number of atoms in existence. Let me see, there was a footnote here. Okie dokie. Okay. Sufficient for me is my sustainer. May God be exalted. In the light of Muhammad, God's blessings be upon him. There's no God but God. Sufficient for me is my sustainer. May God be exalted. My heart's inner life is the remembrance of God. My heart's inner life is the remembrance of God. The remembrance of Ahmad. God's blessings be upon him. There's no God but God. I think this is, wow, this is the end to the fourth ray. It's very nicely put, nicely said, nice, but yeah, I'm trying to gather my thoughts because I don't have any words right now to express it out. But yeah, I think like what suffices me pretty much at the end of the day, we can take in with every interaction we're having. Right. It's not the food that's satisfying me, but the one who's providing the food satisfies me. It's not the means through which I'm being entertained that is satisfying me, rather the one who's prepared all the means really entertaining me or satisfying me. So yeah, I mean, I think if we can cultivate this awareness of a source of existence in our lives with every tasks that we do, then that should be helping us achieve our human goals, which are really to get to know who I am as an individual person here, as an individual being here, and who my owner is. So yeah, that's how one can really live with a satisfied heart, state of being in this universe. Okay, I also like the hadith here. The heavens and the earth contain me not, but I was contained in the heart of my believing servant. So everything is happening within us. All of our conclusions of our experiences are happening within us, and really, I guess that would, a satisfied human heart is really, I think, what we're all aiming for, inshallah. I'll stop here, but I'll check in to see if anybody wants to add anything. Okay, looks like, go ahead, Ali Murmur. Ali Murmur, go ahead, please.
It looks like this is a silent, satisfied listening class. And so I wanted to just add what you have been saying and what we have been discussing in order to keep the room alive, or think loudly, and so that somebody may join and jump in and say something, share their feelings, if they have any questions, etc. Now I see that this fifth point is the conclusion of the whole section, which is studied in the fourth ray. The first we have been reading, I don't know for how many weeks, but quite a long time. Doesn't matter. Why we are expected to say that God is sufficient for me? Why God is sufficient for me? And how can I really be satisfied about this conclusion or about the offer of God in his message, verbal message? He says, now you have to realize that that you have to conclude from your being in this world and come up with this comprehension or understanding that God is sufficient for me. I don't need anything else. It doesn't mean that I shouldn't eat, I shouldn't sleep, I shouldn't benefit from this world, or I should ignore my material side. Never. But the idea, the satisfaction of the heart is based on it. In this summary, starts from, first of all, he says, the one who caused this universe come into existence gave me existence. That's the first step. And so I was, I wouldn't know at all, I wouldn't be aware of anything at all by myself if I was not given existence. So after giving existence, of course, we taste the sweetness of existence, because non-existence is complete darkness. But existence as compared to non-existence that we can logically understand looks like light, complete meaninglessness, complete non-existence. I mean, we cannot imagine it, but comparing how existence is so wonderful, we have to imagine non-existence. Oh, if I didn't exist, I was nothing. Look, I exist. But the author says, not only existence, he gave us life. Yeah, through life, as the text says, I can extend my hands to the things around me, and by communicating with them, I can benefit from them. Without life, I would be like a stone. I wouldn't be aware of what's going on around me. Yes, I exist. Of course, the stone exists, but it is not aware of anything at all. Whether the stone itself is aware of its own existence, none of my business, but I can compare the stone to me. Through life, I am communicating with everything. Now, it says, on top of this, he gave, the one who created us, gave us such an enormous capacity, which is called humanity. We call it human soul. Not only a living being like an plant or like an animal, but human soul, humanity, the senses, all these clutches of bunches of endless senses put in my life. So what happens through the senses? I can communicate with the macrocosm and gather meaning from them. It's an enormous meaning from them. I can communicate with them. I can see what are they. They are like this. They respond to my this feeling. They give. They teach my such a some of my feelings in this way, that way. So I can communicate not only physically, as animals and plants are communicating physically with other things, extra and more than this, I communicate with their meanings. So what do they mean? Which kind of message they carry to me? Because this one of this human side, the soul, is consciousness, intellect, communicating through, and establishing a communication through sensual means, loving, understanding, loving, escaping, trying to reach them out, etc. And then says, no, not only this one. My Creator gave to my human side the capacity of belief. It means gathering information from the meaning of the universe and coming to a conclusion, reaching a conclusion that these meanings, these qualities manifested in it, is introducing who their real owner is, so that I become aware of their owner. It means through the meanings, I see not only the material benefit of the things themselves, that was possible through life, but more than this, I understand that I am addressed. I am an addressee. I am a guest of the owner of these meanings, pointing to their owner. So this owner of meanings, I understand that, oh, he is the one consciously brought me endowed my being, on my being, with the qualities that I can get to know him. That is through belief. Now, up to this life level, humanity level, everybody is equal. Everybody communicates with the universe and contacts and benefit from it materially and meaningful as well. They love beautiful things. They always prefer to have beautiful designs, beautiful creatures, and very sweet smells, tastes, delicious tastes. They want to hear beautiful music of the universe. They want to have a beautiful garden where the birds chirps and sings and communicates. Beautiful. But without this capacity, or without human beings utilize this capacity of belief, coming to a conclusion. don't just benefit from them with a larger, much larger capacity than animals, and enjoy your life and die and perish away. So meaningless. So that is now left to human free choice. The capacity is already given to me that I can conclude who is my owner and who owns all these beautiful qualities manifested in the universe. I can become conscious of their owner. That is possible through belief. Now, it is not enough. It is not the only things was presented to me. The Prophet Muhammad, what does it mean? Message. His message, and the representative, the teacher or practitioner of this message. What is there? As far as the known history tells me, it has always been a prophetic message among human beings as an alternative to some people's idea that we are sufficient of ourselves, by ourselves, so we don't want any other guidance and reject them. It is, of course, within the realm of freedom, human freedom. They may reject, but then what they do if they reject, they live like an animal, benefit from the universe, but not as a human being which has the capacity to conclude from the meaning that they extract from the universe. Now, this is understood that this part, this belief part, can become only possible through the teachings of the message we receive through the prophets. And he practices in his life how we should really put our belief into practice. So this is Muhammad's teaching, teaches us, his exemplary life teaches us how to be, don't misunderstand this expression, in love with your creator God. How to be in love? It means always think about him, always bear in mind him, always be conscious of him, so that you will keep your relationship with him on a very satisfactory way, humanly possible within human capacity. So he gives us or teaches us in order to reach the human perfection. What does it mean? To really get most of your capacity as much as possible, enjoy it, benefit from it, so that you will be in contact with your creator. Now, all these things are given to me. Also, the fact that where the hadith is narrated, actually, the heaven and the earth contained me not, I was contained in the heart of my believing servant. That needs a special study. So let us pass it for the moment in order to complete this encircled blessings of the Creator, so that I will say, of course, this blessing, this Creator must be sufficient for me, so that my heart will be fully satisfied that, yes, God, the Creator of the universe and of me, is sufficient for me. Let's leave this very critical hadith, very, very important hadith, at the end of our discussion, so that we can concentrate on the meaning of this hadith until we complete the time for this class. So, and then this is not enough. Even it says the human beings the comprehensive capacity of the human beings. So much comprehensive that I can, if you like, again, these are just literal way of explaining the things. I can see the presence of my creator within the mirror of my consciousness, my heart, the mirror of my heart. How? As if he is living in my heart. It means he is within my heart. He's not something strange. We can understand this. I am the throne. God is the one who is residing, sitting on it. This is, of course, a symbolic teaching. Oh, I'm not saying God is a person sitting on a chair, huge chair. No. That is just to understand the capacity of human spirit, human comprehensive nature that we are created with. We can just feel always the presence of the creator of the universe in my comprehensive human capacity. But of course, this is only possible through belief, and believing the meaning of the universe, where do they point to, and plus to understand that this belief can only be practiced through the teachings of the message from my creator, and really taste it. For example, I may learn how to make food by the Quran, for example, the teaching of God, verbal explanation, but I cannot know how I am going to eat it, get the feeling, and communicate with the one who is creating this delicious taste in the creator, so that I can keep him in mind always, never be neglectful, because I have been given the option to neglect his presence in me. So this comprehension nature that I am created with gives opportunity for me to see that in my heart, God resides. Well, that's a dangerous language. So what does it mean? I can feel it there. I can feel it. I can feel his presence always with me. How? Through my existence with the stages of existence. Stages of existence. Being existing in this world, having life, and then having the human qualities, and then the capacity to come to a conclusion, which is called belief, and then how to act and benefit from this belief through the exemplary message of the prophet, and then realize that God is residing in me. So what is the result? Now the last stage, didn't finish. God is residing in the mirror of my heart. Okay, how about the promise of paradise? That is the last stage. The purpose of our existence in this world, to reach this physical manifestations of all the qualities of God with no veil like here, that I have to see the meaning and try to drive what they refer to in the sign of in the form of a sign. Everything is a sign pointing to something that I have to conclude intellectually, but I need a life directly experiencing the manifestation of my creator without going into the trouble of making this rational explanations and spiritual practice of it, or testing them through my feelings and coming to a conclusion, believing in ghaib. No. Now I don't want to go all this trouble. I have to see it manifesting my creator directly and without on any veil. I need the absolute satisfaction without concluding about ghaib. Ghaib must be now not ghaib for me anymore. It is obvious in front of me. Like I found a piece of art. By looking at the art, I imagine the artist is such, maybe like this, must be like this, leave it this, like this, how he gained this quality, etc. And it was the male, female, how old it was, I have no idea. But I am just concluding that there must be a conscious being who made it. How about the difference between this artist comes and presents his quality of art in front of your very physical eye? You physically experience the way he is doing it. Of course, you don't have to see it, but the way he is doing it, which capacity. So, yes, seeing the art is a great evidence, but even more so, that's why people, for example, can listen to a singer or the song of a singer and appreciate the singer. That's obvious. Everybody, well, I know the people are really turning their loudspeakers in their car so much that when they go there, even my windows shrink, so bangs on it. So why they love it? They want to share their love with others. Look, I love this, come on, join me, as if that's what we need. But at the same time, if this singer comes to wherever you are and says, I'm going to sing this song in front of your eyes, what do? They pay hundreds of dollars to join this gala. I don't know how it is called in English. Maybe gala, or I don't know.
Concerts.
Sorry?
Concerts.
Okay, but physical presence of the singer or the artist in a concert hall. They pay money for it. You fight for it. If the places are not enough or normal halls, conference halls, they go to the football field. Millions of people cheers up, crazy about it. I understand the need for paradise when I see this scene there. Need for paradise. I want to see the gala or concert presented in front of me by God. I think that was a wonderful news, and my feelings say, yes, I am dying for it. Okay, that's very human. Thank you very much, and I would like to hear your inputs, and especially the comment on the Hadith narration, if you like to share it.
No, Jazakallah khair, Brother Ali. This was very helpful. So people on the chat, feel free to raise your hand if you want to make a comment on the hadith. Let me highlight it here. Or if you just want to express something out, feel free to do that. It's interesting, the more you read this hadith, it's the heavens and the earth contain me not, I was contained in the heart of my believing servant. Adam R., go ahead, please.
That's okay. Sister, please finish your point, and then I'll jump in.
I really didn't have any point. I just wanted to.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you both for all the help. What I would say is this text made me think about how much capacity there is around around the elements discussed here inside of human being. Or, for example, the issues of existence, and then human being human, and then the issues of the spirit, issues of then belief, and then uh, going further up to this last stage. And I guess what I would say is that not only is this a strong indicator of the phrase sufficient for me is God, excuse me, but also this is a very nice analysis in another way to maybe to teach about education, what our education should really be about in our life, or what we are, what we shouldn't neglect. I mean, it's a kind of a nice systematic step-by-step stages to think about that. How much of my life and my education and my thinking is going towards these areas. So this was just in my personal life. I've been spending some time just talking with my wife and other people about education, about the children's education, and where the emphasis needs to be for children's education and everyone's education, but human education, human consideration. And I'm happy because now I see a really nice kind of almost like a blueprint presented to me about how to think about what we are and what we should be thinking about regarding our progress in life. So that's it, Charlotte. Just sharing some feelings, comments.
Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. It's definitely back to school season, and a lot of parents and educators have the future of the education system in mind. So I think that's an ongoing thought in everyone's minds. And yeah, I think what matters at the end of this really finding out, well, what am I doing here? And, where am I going really? Like, what's the point of all of this humanity that I'm endowed with? So I think that's what needs to be cultivated into young minds. But first, I think the educators need to educate themselves so they can help the next generation, inshallah. Thank you, Brother Adam, for your comment. Anyone else wants to make any final remarks? Okay. Yeah, this hadith is still very profound. Looking into it, the more I'm looking into it, the more it's very enlightening that I think there's a lot that we need to be doing with our experiences here, and like really how we view things is the source of my existence really residing in the mirror of my heart. I think that's at least that's how I see the target area for this hadith. Brother Adam, your hand is up again. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you. I don't want to stop you in any way, but yeah, I didn't comment on the hadith. I would to just go further to what you said. I'm really simple compared to everyone else here, so I'll just say that the constant concern of everyone to look at physical progress, to look at physical growth is so pervasive, so common. No one can see or no one thinks about it in any other way in their life, unfortunately, nowadays, that I see or that I'm grappling with. And so in regards to this hadith, the heavens and earth contain me not. So the heavens and the earth, which are, of course, physical manifestation, physical components, physical things that we experience, one would think that the real awe-inducing realm for this world, right, is in the physical heavens and earth, right? That's the place where one can get on. I mean, if I can show you something really big, if I can show you something really grand and huge or something like this would get your attention, assumingly. So we're all, I mean, the constant emphasis is in going in this direction. However, this hadith seems to be bringing from another direction, saying that the heavens and earth cannot contain me not. I was contained in the heart of my believing servant. It is, again, kind of going against the general iconic thinking, and also putting emphasis of how valuable the human is, as we've been saying in this discussion, and also this emphasis not on material side, but what the human heart is, or my believing servant's heart is. So although the universe is a place of beauty, of very special manifestations, signs, messages, it is still not the place, though, where according to this narration, the one saying this narration is contained. It's only in the heart of a believing servant. So on one side, the heavens and earth were not the point, and the second is that the significance of the human servant heart is so huge that it can be contained. It can contain what cannot be contained. I mean, the heavens and earth cannot contain it. And to my knowledge, there's no real limit to what we know of the heavens and the earth. Maybe on one side we could say it is also transient. So what's transient there is not, of course, able to contain the one who's speaking in this narration, but the heart of a believing servant apparently does. So there's something very special, very unique about the heart of a believing servant, and that it can go beyond what the heavens and earth can in containing. And so again, either this issue of it not being transient, so not being subject to these transient issues, and maybe even beyond that, maybe it has an element of something even more that we should discuss. I have an indication or a thought as to what that is, but that's still something I'm thinking about, speculating about. So I'll open it to others.
Well, thank you, Brother Adam, for your comments. And I think Farah also wants to make some remarks. Go ahead, Farah.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, everyone, for helping think through. And I'm also just thinking out loud. I was thinking to myself, like, from the reference that we hear about the heavens and the earth, there's nothing more comprehensive that is sort of expressed in these terms, whether it's the same terms used in the Quran or in other sort of similar references. That, to me, the idea of the heavens and the earth sort of tends to encompass or present an idea of comprehensiveness of existence and experience, like the entire experience of created beings. And so it got me thinking, like, what is it that the heart of a believing servant represents that still makes it contain something more then what the image or the symbols of heavens and the earth, do not contain. So the reference to something that is, there's something more than it is present in the symbols of comprehensiveness known to us. And while I have to obviously think further, one thing that came to mind, inspired by what I've heard thus far, is the idea that the heart also representing something that is, if I think about something beating, something dynamic, so something that is sort of has a higher level of life, if I must say, or in other words, a consciousness, a higher level of consciousness. So something about the, I guess, this intentional, and I guess the point that I'm sort of getting at for myself is also that there is a willingness or a desire, something deliberate, something, that there is some sort of want that exists in a believing servant, which makes that heart of his or him more alive, let's say, or more conscious or more living than what is represented in the heavens and the earth. So because when I think about something living and something breathing and something beating, there is a reference to a desire to continue to do so. So something about us as human beings having a will and a want and a passion or a desire, perhaps is being alluded to. That's how I'm understanding it now. So that's all.
Thank you, Farah, for your comment. I know we are at time, but any last additions from anybody? The heavens and the earth contained me not. I was contained in the heart of my believing servant. I guess something to take on with us until we meet next, inshallah. But is there any?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just a last comment. I was listening to the speakers, my friends here. It was beautiful to hear their voice as well. I think the difference between human beings and the universe also reflects the qualities of the Creator, and my comprehensive human soul also is the place where the same names of God manifested in me, but in me they are given to me in the form of tools, so that I will use them and communicate back to the Creator consciously, accompanied with my consciousness. If you like, my response back comes from my choice, conscious choice, but the universe reflects God's manifestations like a mirror, no really responding back to God, and conscious communication is established. But in my creation, a conscious communication can be established, so that God says, okay, I am here in order to communicate with you consciously if you choose it. But the universe, if you like, it is not unconscious. Angel side is a problem. We don't have time for it. But at the same time, the universe is not consciously responding back to God in the form of presenting their worship. It means active communication. I am able to do that. I think I didn't, what the text said, come on. It's heavens and the earth could not contain me. Now, they couldn't contain me, but human heart did, means I have, the human beings are given some more extra quality. I see that this extra quality is simply, we use it because I know we are out of time. With the word worship, we can say worship of God, communication with God, but the universe makes, if you like, tasbihat, glorification. But conscious act of worship is, this capacity is given to human beings, then he can do that. For example, consciously prostrate before God, consciously tell Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Iyyaka na'budu, consciously say it, and human beings are aware of it. Apart from the angelic side of the universe, we see that universe is functioning as mirror, as a book, as a mirror. But human beings' capacity functions in the form of communication, conversation with God directly. That is what I understood from this hadith. So I can communicate with God as if he is just present in front of me, because he is present in my existence, demonstrating his presence to me anyways in my existence. Thank you. Sorry, I spoke a lot, but please don't leave after this is complete now, the fourth ray. We can decide together for the next week what we are going to study, inshallah. So we have to stop. We have to, host knows what to do so that we can have a free conversation out of recording. Thank you.
Inshallah. Thank you, Brother Ali, and thank you everybody else who put their inputs and comments. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Glory be unto you. We have no knowledge save except that which you've taught us. Indeed, you are all knowledgeable, all wise. Wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati sir